We can speak to Pete Winner now, who's an ex-SAS soldier and was at the Iranian embassy siege in 1980. He joins us on the phone now. Peter, I'm hoping you've been watching our coverage and seen this footage as events unfolded in the past 20 minutes or so. We've been outlining the fact that 5 hostages ran from that building, and within a matter of minutes there was a very large firefight. What was your assessment of events as they unfolded that you've seen?
Yeah, it looks to me very much like the Australians were forced into initiating the IA, which is the immediate action. It's a response, it's like an emergency drill to negotiations was probably reaching a critical stage. The gunman was threatening to kill hostages. Something would have to be done. They were forced into it, and it looks like they've done a full-on assault with explosive entry.
Pete, we're just going to play that moment again when the Armed Forces security personnel went in. Pete, 30 or so seconds of ferocious and rapid gunfire there. What's your assessment just from what you can hear? And I know it's extremely difficult, but what do you think perhaps unfolded in that 30 seconds or so? Because we know at least one hostage walked out of there after the gunfire, so they'd have had to go in and launch this assault, this attack, with innocent people potentially in there.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have to initiate the IA, the immediate action. I would think that the explosion would have been the frame charge, blowing in a window, the door, explosive entry. Then the guys would have done a frontal assault with flashbangs into the room, and the gunfire you heard was the taking down of the gunman.
You said that they'd have reached a moment where they believe that this was reaching a critical point. We know that obviously it's the middle of the night there. This hostage situation had been ongoing for 16 hours, and we've been talking over the past couple of hours about how this was a potentially very dangerous point because this man, the hostage taker, who we believe to be a man called Harun Manis, would have been reaching potential breaking point. He would have been exhausted, running low on sugar. So perhaps those who were trying to make a breakthrough would have anticipated that something like this may unfold at the middle of the night there.
That's correct. The police were carrying out the softly tactic as far as negotiations are concerned, which is the long drawing out of negotiations. This is an attempt to severely weaken the gunman, and it looks as though it worked into the small hours, and he was getting weaker and weaker. But alongside this kind of thing, you get agitation. They start to get agitated. At the Iranian embassy siege, Salem, the leader, he got severely agitated on the Monday. He completely lost control. His control absolutely disintegrated, and all he did was shoot Lavasani, the press attaché, in the back of the head, pushed him out through the front door of the embassy, and that was it. His fate was sealed.
Pete Winner, when they have to go in and they know there are innocent people in there, how do they operate? What do they do to try and protect them?
Very difficult. It's absolute chaos inside an embassy that's got a full frontal assault. It's all down to training. I mean, we had the photographs of all the hostages. You memorise hostages. You know more or less what they're dressed like. It takes a lot of practice. I mean, we spend hours practicing for the actual assault, and it's down to training and expertise.
When they train for this kind of event, fortunately Australia's been very lucky and haven't had to deal with this kind of thing. But when they do train, do they have in the back of their minds that when they go in, the aim is to kill the perpetrator, the hostage taker?
Well, of course, I mean, the mission at the Iranian embassy siege, the mission as read was to rescue the hostages, That is the main mission. If the terrorists get in the way, for example, the terrorist Maki, in a psychopathic rage, just opened fire on the hostages, tried to kill the leader of the embassy, Dr. Afrouz, and he unfortunately killed one of the other hostages. So when a situation like that arises, you've got to open fire yourself. It's kill or be killed, I'm afraid.
Pete Winner, fascinating to talk to you. Thanks very much for your expertise. Former SAS involved in the Iranian hostage siege. Thank you. Let's just remind our viewers what's unfolded in the heart of Sydney within the past half hour.